Hey guys, you're welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Shalakbe Adebajo, but you can call me Lape for short. I'm a lifestyle blogger. I also provide interior design tips here on this channel, and I talk about life in Canada. So if you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button so that you will get an alert when a new video comes up. If you are a returning subscriber, thank you for joining us again. Let's jump into the video. Alright guys, awkward introduction out of the way. Today we're going to be talking about life in Canada, specifically driving in Canada. I'm by no means any expert, trust me, I'm not, but I'm sharing my own personal views, and that can help you make an informed decision if you're new in Canada, specifically Ontario, because if you're in Canada, you know that provinces operate autonomously, if that's the right word, so their rules are kind of similar, but they still operate independently. So I'm talking about Ontario because I'm based in Ontario. And of course, if you're also planning on moving to Canada, then you definitely want to watch this video. So yeah, let's jump into it. So I'll start by giving you my own experience. First of all, I started driving in Canada in 2016. So when I came with my Nigerian driver's license, and I went to the drive test center because we didn't know the process. It was myself and my husband. We didn't really know the process, so we went there and we're told we needed to write the G1 test, which is the written test. That's the first stage to get your license here in Ontario. So I guess I'm already into the process already. So we're told we're going to write that process, and since we came with our own driver's license, then we'll be eligible to go for either the G2 or the G test, which are this is the practical test, I'll call it, like the drive test itself. So yeah, the drive test center is a department under the Ministry of Transportation in Ontario that manages anything that has to do with getting your driver's license or class of license, because there are different classes of licenses depending on what you're driving. If you're driving a vehicle, well, they're all vehicles. If you're driving a car or a truck or a motorcycle, anything like that, there are different classes of licenses for that. So for a regular vehicle, like what everyone will drive, we're talking about the G class license. So the first stage is writing the written test, which is the G1 test. So after passing the test, because we came in our Nigerian license, we're eligible to write the G2 test, or drive the G2 test or the full G tests, because basically what that Nigerian license just proves is that you have driving experience from your previous country of origin. But what I know that is being done now is, if you want to take that route, you need to also get a letter from the embassy, so from the Nigerian High Commission, or I think you can also bring it from Nigeria as well when you're coming, something from the Ministry of Transportation, from that the country you're coming from, showing that you've got X amount of experience driving. Because basically, as a G1 license holder, it means that's like holding a learner's permit in Nigeria. It means that you're new to driving, you don't have experience, you still need someone beside you monitoring your driving. So, but of course we know that that's not the case for most people, right? So that letter just shows that you have experience. So fortunately for us, they didn't ask us for that back then. That was in 2016. So we just showed the license, and I was eligible to write the G2 test. So this was while we're in London, Ontario, but we're moving to the GTA in a couple of weeks. So I decided to write my G2 test in the GTA. So we moved to Oakville, and I did my test in Oakville at the drive test center there, and I wrote my test. And I was extremely nervous because I'd not driven before, and I didn't know what to expect. But I prepared for that test, because obviously you have to prepare, because you might feel like, yeah, I've been driving in whatever country I've been driving, so yeah, I know what I'm doing, but it's not really the same. To be honest, it's not the same. So it's probably better you prepare. So what I did in my own case was I just went on, I think it was Kijiji back then. Always ask people, referrals. Actually, it's even better to get, referrals, because at least from the referral that this person is capable of, like they know what they're doing, right? So I got this person, a female, who had lessons for the test. So I took, I think, about either 2 or 3 tests. So each session, 2 or 3 sessions, driving sessions, each session costs about 45 or 40 bucks back then. So I took like 2 or 3 sessions, and I used her car for the test. So, you know, the session really was for her to kind of, you know, show me like this is what to expect. Like you're going to do like maybe a reverse park or an uphill type of parking, or, you know, whatever, things like that for the G2 test. So I opted for the G2 test because the G is easier. So obviously I just wanted to do that. And the G2 test, you won't be driving on the highway. So you'll be driving within what they call them, zip freeway. I don't even really know these terms, but you'll be driving within the city, and you will do basic things like using your pointers, reverse parking, uphill parking, 3-point turn, an emergency stop, you know, things like that. And I'm sure if you go on YouTube, you'll see so many videos like that. Like, the information is out there. So I did that, and I got my license. I passed the test. The G2 was really easy, and you won't believe it, back then Oakville was actually one of the easiest places to take your tests. Like, people will come from far and wide to write their tests at the Oakville Drive Test Center. So in 2019, I was ready to get my G license because I'd been driving for how many years? 16, 17, 18, 19, can you imagine? 3 years. Like within Canada, right? So I was ready to write my G test, and I was working within Oakville then. So it kind of made sense, right, for me to just go to the Oakville Drive Test Center and do my tests. And I did. And remember, I'd been driving, so I didn't need to practice again because I kind of knew what to expect, and I was used to the roads then, so I wasn't nervous like the way I was the first time. But guess what? I didn't pass the test. Can you imagine? So I did it twice and I didn't pass. The first attempt, the guy said I didn't match up to, because you have to do the G test involves you also driving on the highway. So I wasn't matching up to the speed of others or something like that. And then the second one, I feel like that person was just being racist. I don't like, that was my own opinion, because to be honest, I didn't really see what I did wrong. But you know what pained me out of that experience? It was the fact that I had to pay, you know, for every test that I was going to be writing. So the first test was, I think, 90 bucks, and then the second one I had to pay another 90 bucks, and I didn't pass on those. I didn't pass the 2 tests. So at that point I was like, okay, I don't want to waste money again, so maybe I have to look for somewhere else. Unfortunately for us, we're living in Milton back then. We're moving out of Milton then to Cambridge, which is where we are right now. There's no drive test center here. There is one in Kitchener, which is close to us, but I didn't hear good things about Kitchener. I heard good things about Guelph. So I signed up to do my drive tests at Guelph. This was in 2020, January 2020, just right before all of the craziness, you know, the pandemic hit. So I, you know, signed up for the test. I went there, and their highway in Guelph is 70 kilometers per hour. Can you guys imagine? It was so easy, and I passed. Thank God. You know, because at that point I now became nervous, because after doing the test twice, and they were telling me I wasn't passing. I drive every day to work, so it was so annoying, and I just wanted to do it and get it over with, because it kind of helps with your insurance. You know, if you have a full G license, like, your insurance is lower, you know, along with your experience and all of that. So yeah, I passed, and that was the process for me. It differs for everyone. Some people come here, they do that G1 test, and they're ready to go for the full G, and they pass, you know. So it depends on your confidence level, where you feel you are, you know, with driving, but it's not a big deal in general. I feel like the part where it might be an issue for most people that experienced outside of Canada, like in Nigeria, for example, is when you're driving here in Canada in the winter, it's a different experience. Like, no matter how many years you've been driving, it's definitely a different experience. So, a quick summary before I go to my recommendations. If you're an immigrant and you're not coming with a previous license, just know that you will write the G1 test, the reading test. You write that, and then you have to wait for 8 months before you are eligible to do the G2 test. So that's the difference. You know, if you come with your proof of experience, you won't have to wait that long, but if you don't, then you'll have to wait. So after waiting for 8 months, then you'll be eligible to do the G2 test. And if it is for a young driver, so you know, once you're 16, you're eligible to write the test. If it's for a young driver and you're able to get your G2 license before you're 21, you will need an adult, someone who has a G license, to sit beside you and for you to be eligible to drive on the highway. So of course, if you have the G2 license and you're less than 21, you're younger than 21, you can drive everywhere else except the highway. If you have to get on the highway, then you need someone with the full G license to accompany you, if that makes sense. Yeah. And of course, once you have driven for, I think it's a year, that part I'm not really sure, but I think it's a year. Once you've driven for a year with your G2 license, you'll be eligible to write to do the full G test. And you know, as I said previously, there are other types of licenses. Depending on what you want to drive, you'll have to do your research. There's the A class type of license, the M class type of license, you know, depending if it's a motorcycle or a truck, or you know, those really big trucks, they have their own tests as well. So different types of tests. So my recommendation, if you want to write it, if you want to do the test, definitely get a referral, or you know, just go on Facebook or you know, Kijiji, whoever, and get someone to, you know, just show you the route for the test. If you won't be nervous and you'll be able to focus on actually driving instead of trying to worry about, oh, I'm not familiar with this route, or you know, whatever. So it's usually good to get someone who can just put you through, if it's 2 or 3 classes. And of course, I'm speaking for those that are experienced with driving. If you're not experienced with driving, you will need to go to driving school, obviously, because I went to driving school in Nigeria, even though that was a huge mess, but at least you get my point. Like, you need to go to driving school to learn the basics. So if you haven't been to driving school, then for sure you need to go to driving school. And my second recommendation is, in the winter, if you are not an experienced driver, you definitely will want to make sure you have winter tires on your vehicle. Like, people might think it's trivial or it's not that important, but if you're going to be on the roads a lot in the winter, it's probably better, you know, for your safety to have winter tires on. Not all season tires, not all weather tires, but winter tires. Yeah, it's for your safety. And just because you're not familiar, you're not used to how the car feels on ice, you might be caught unawares and scared, and if you're not used to it, you might turn the car in a funny way, and you know, it's just going to be it'll be a scary experience. I remember the first time it happened to me, it was really scary, and I even had Moyo in the car. You know, I scared and I didn't know how to react. Fortunately for me, I had winter tires on, so it wasn't that bad, and I didn't hit anybody, thankfully. But yeah, that's definitely something you want to note. So yeah, that's it. We've come to the end of today's video. If you enjoyed this video of my driving experience so far, just give me a thumbs up. That will let me know that you enjoy videos like this and you want to see more videos like this. And if you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I'm watching you. I'm watching you. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you on my next video. Bye guys.